Hello everyone, it's nice to see a few, actually all familiar faces. I don't think there's a single new one here. As many of you know, my name is Ryan-Aylward and I am an accredited music therapist. I've been working here at Eden Gardens for just over a year and a half. So before we dive right into what is music therapy in a dementia care setting today, I'd like to briefly start off by sharing my educational background to give you a bit of a framework for what is required to be an accredited music therapist. So I have a Bachelor of Music in Classical Voice from the University of Victoria. This is not required to be a music therapist, although many music therapists came from different musical backgrounds, whether it was jazz, performance, classical training, things like that. Halfway through the degree, I discovered music therapy, and I remember thinking, what is music therapy? It seems very interesting, but I didn't know too much about it. So after a little research, I discovered that one must have extensive knowledge and skills with musicianship and musical training. So whether, as I said, that's classical background, jazz background, on any instrument. It could be guitar, voice, clarinet, trumpet. And at the moment, there are currently 3 or 4 post-secondary education schools in Canada that are recognized for gaining a music therapy bachelor degree. So after applying for the program, there is an audition and interview process. And then once you've been accepted, the coursework focuses on musicianship, using music and instruments therapeutically, the study of psychology, group dynamics, counseling, medical conditions, and you have 3 practicum placements. One is generally with geriatrics, the other is with children, usually with a variety of special needs, and your 3rd practicum placement is generally in mental health. So it gives you a really broad, hands-on experience, which is really great. So after you've done the coursework and the final exams, you are then required to do a 1,000-hour unpaid internship, generally in the area that you'd like to focus on. So I did my internship at Kiwanis Pavilion with seniors with dementia care. And it's really great because once you graduate, you're really armed with hands-on experience and really armed for the workforce ahead. So after that, I completed a Bachelor of Music Therapy with distinction from Capilano University, which is in North Vancouver. Now, so once you're done that, you are considered a music therapist, but most facilities and businesses prefer to have the accreditation status. So this involves taking the National Board Certification exam, and at this point you are recognized by the Canadian Association of Music Therapists. So what this means is that I agree to abide by their code of ethics, their standards of practice, and I'm required to engage in continuing education to further expand my knowledge and theoretical and practical application. As many of you know, after graduation, I've been working with the Victoria Conservatory of Music, which is a non-profit organization based in Victoria. We've been slowly expanding our presence here in Nanaimo with dementia care, as well as with kids and teens with special needs. All right, so why don't we have a little music moment of our own. I don't know where your day has brought you today, whether you've been on the floor working with residents, in a room dealing with emails, but I've passed around a little twist and shout. Now, I know everyone has their own experience with music. You might be the type that loves to sing along or hum along quietly, tap your toes, do a little dance and get your shoulders in there. So feel free to sing along, listen, whatever you feel most comfortable with. I think I'll just stay in my chair if that's easier for you. Okay. All right. Now, who here knows the song Twist and Shout? Okay, good. You've never heard it? I should have known. All right, gang, well, let's try a little twist and shout. You're welcome to sing the lead part or the response or both if you're feeling a little adventurous today. All right, here we go. Lip sync works too. All right, guys, here we go. Well, shake it up, baby, now shake it up, baby. Twist and shout, twist and shout. Come on, come on, come on, come on, baby. Now come on, babe, come on and work it on out. Work it on out. Well, work it on out, work it on out. You know you look so good, look so good. You know you got me going now. Just like I knew you would, like I knew you would. Well, shake it up, baby, now. Twist and shout, twist and shout. Come on, come on, come on, come on, baby, now. you twisted little girl, twist little girl, you know you twist so fine, twist so fine. Come on and twist a little closer now, and let me know that you're mine. Well, shake it up, baby, now shake it up, baby. Twist and shout, twist and shout. Come on and twist a little, baby, now. Come on and work it on out. And one more time. Well, shake it up, baby, now. Twist and shout, twist and shout. Come on, come on, come on, come on, baby, now. Come on and work it on out. Very nice game. Hello. Woo. All right, we'll tuck that there. Very nice. Hi, I'm Aisling. I don't think we've met.
Nice to meet
Erin?
you.
Oh,
Yes.
nice to meet you.
Yes, nice
How's
to
the
meet
day
you.
been for you?
Yeah, I saw you today in, where were we?
Ooh, is that D1?
D1.
D1.
Yeah, yeah, it was lovely.
Yeah, we're doing a little Irish music today for St. Patrick's Day.
Perfect.
So all things Irish. Well, thank you very much for your active engagement. And interesting, just to take a moment to reflect how you were feeling before we started singing. I'm sure we're all at that point in the day, we're kind of wishing we were at home, putting our feet up and saying goodbye to the workday. But it was lovely to see how each of you engaged in your own way. Some of you started clapping, some of you started singing. I saw smiles on faces, even a few shoulders here and there. So that wasn't music therapy, that was just the power of music. When there's a song that you know and it's familiar, sometimes it's just your toes tapping. Sometimes you get a little groove in your shoulders happening. But everyone has their own relationship and their own way of interacting with music. And that is what I try to highlight when I work with residents. Some people love to sing. Others are very clear that they don't like to participate in instruments. They like to sit on the edge of the group, but they really enjoy being there. So this ties into, what is music therapy? Well, music therapy as a profession began globally in the 1950s and 60s, but became prominently in Canada in the 1970s. Now, the Canadian Association of Music Therapists states that music therapy is a discipline in which credentialed professionals use music purposefully within therapeutic relationships to support development, health, and well-being. Music therapists use music safely and ethically to address human needs within cognitive, communicative, emotional, musical, physical, social, and spiritual domains. Excuse me. Now, as we just experienced in our own moment of music, every individual has their own connection and relationship to music. As I mentioned, some individuals enjoy simply listening, while others enjoy active participation in music making. Now, this might have stemmed from, in their lifetime, they were members of a community choir or band, singing with their friends and family around the fireplace, around the kitchen table, going dancing, or going out and listening to live performances. Having music therapy here at Eden Gardens can assist in continuing those experiences through our group or individual sessions. Music therapy can assist in alleviating loneliness, helplessness, and boredom by providing meaningful relationships through music. I'm sure most, if not everyone in this room, has had that experience where a song takes you back. You may remember where you were, what you were wearing, the smells, the tastes, or just the emotion of that experience. Our residents are no different. Research has shown a connection between music and memory in our brains. Unlike language that is processed in one area of our brain, the different elements of music, such as rhythm, pitch, and melody, are all processed in a different part of our brain. And as we all know, emotions are often very closely tied with songs, and this causes our limbic system to be activated. Now, some of you may be familiar with Oliver Sacks. He is a British neurologist, naturalist, and historian of science, and he's also an advocate for music therapy. Sacks states that we listen to music with our muscles, and this arousal at the brainstem level shows how basic and primal sound is to humans, and why Sacks states that people living with progressed dementia respond to music. I once heard an analogy. It said, music is like riding the bus. Anyone can get on that bus, regardless of their musical background, current abilities, or areas of need. Through our sessions, we are able to facilitate an experience that provides opportunities for social interactions, emotional and creative expression, ownership of their music making, and opportunities for spiritual nourishment. Here at Eden Gardens, as we all know, our residents have many strengths and a range of needs as well. And our sessions often include a mix of these residents, those who are actively engaged in music making and group discussion, and those who are quiet participants, yet still gain from being a member of the group. As Kirkland states, music can serve as a means of communication for those where the function of language has become very challenging or lost. As such, this allows the opportunity to address each resident at every stage of their dementia. Alicia Ann Clare identifies 4 main benefits for those with late-stage dementia. So changes in facial expression and tension. You might see their forehead relax or their eyebrows raise if there's a certain connection with a verse or a particular song. Increased eye contact. Sometimes it's just for that one line, or it's for that whole verse, or even sometimes that whole song. They initiate eye contact and they maintain it for the whole duration of the song. Whereas previously they might have had their eyes closed, they might have been in their own mind, but they really came out for that one little moment, however short or long it may have been. Vocal activity, so you might hear them singing along, and if you listen closely, often it's usually in key or close tonally to the song that we've been singing or have sung previously in the session. And of course, physical movement, tapping, moving your shoulders, tapping your fingers, things like that. There is research that supports the fact that Alzheimer's patients are able to retain musical perception, or as Kirkland calls it, musical memory. When a resident is able to recall music and its lyrics precisely, yet is unable to speak a coherent sentence. Or when a resident is singing or humming a song 5 minutes after the group sung it together. As Gardner and Swanson stated, that is what makes music a powerful catalyst for reminiscence. I myself have been approached by, I think even a few people in this room and other staff and families where they see the residents day to day, and residents who are often withdrawn, may not engage much facial affect, have said that they come alive in our music therapy sessions. They start singing to a song, or they start playing an instrument independently or with assistance provided as needed. So that gives a little bit of information about music and memory within our brains. I'd like to quickly reference or make the distinction between music therapy and entertainment. I know at a quick glance it often looks the same. There's someone standing at the front and there's other people facing them, and at face value it looks pretty much the same. Well, as a music therapist, it is my priority to develop and maintain a therapeutic relationship with each resident in each of the groups. It is an experience that is collective, not the detached performer and audience, but rather taking ownership and creating the music together. As well, as an accredited music therapist, we approach our sessions by preparing, implementing, and evaluating programs to best meet the needs of the residents. This is achieved by engaging in an assessment process where we observe each individual's strengths and areas of need, confer with staff and family, and where possible the individual, and determine their musical preferences. Based on this information observed and gathered, we create long-term goals for the group as well as each individual within the group. These goals are achieved in time through the successful completion of smaller objectives. And throughout our sessions, we continue to evaluate the effectiveness of these goals and determine whether they need to be modified. So from there, we utilize a variety of intervention techniques. In a moment, I'll go through kind of a breakdown of our session, why we do the things that we do, and kind of the reasoning behind them. But some of the techniques we use are to promote participation, engagement, opportunities for expression, and of course, enjoyment. A few considerations we have when approaching a music therapy session is, of course, the individual, respecting their individuality and their autonomy in their experiences, providing opportunities for ownership of their music making and the right to choose. They choose what instruments they're going to play. I usually bring out a whole whack. We've got drums, tambourines, bells, shakers, and we often, depending on the abilities of the resident, I might say, I've got 4 of these options, which one would you like to choose? Or if they have a little more limited ability in choice making, it's 2. Would you like the shaker? It sounds like this. Or would you like the bell? It sounds like this. So they've got the visual cue as well as the auditory cue as well. They often choose the direction of the session, whether a song comes up or, I was thinking of this memory and I always used to sing this song with my dad. Could we sing that right now? Of course. Well, let's take it away and we'll go from there. Another consideration is cross-cultural considerations, being aware that every resident has their own cultural identity and history, and that incorporating music of that culture may be very beneficial, but it also may trigger some very painful memories associated with grief, longing, and guilt. One of the main considerations is the music that is selected. So the music chosen reflects the music the residents would have heard as children and youths, whether it was songs their parents sang at home or the music that they developed, grew up with, and experienced. Research has shown that choosing music that is familiar to a resident can evoke a more positive response than unfamiliar music. There is comfort in familiarity, and familiar music is predictable, reassuring, and comforting, something that is known in an environment that might not be known after living in their family home for many years. Kirkland references that using unfamiliar music may be less successful as it requires processing and analysis of the brain, skills that might not be readily available for some of our residents. When we listen to a new piece of music, our brain is analyzing the instrumentation, judging the overall quality, searching for melody, and analyzing and interpreting the words. This is why I often suggest in the neighborhoods, in the living room, kitchen, that the residents' radios be to the music from their era, because it's just one more way we can further support their home. And of course, emotional triggers. As we mentioned earlier, a lot of songs are tied very closely with our emotions. Some are very obvious. Danny Boy, What a Wonderful World, often played at funerals and wakes. But some of them are a surprise. You Are My Sunshine. It was a song they sang with their father. And it might be a happy memory, but it also might cause a lot of tears, and just being prepared to deal with that as it comes up. So a little bit of a session breakdown. Some of you may know this if you are around when we're having a session, but each session is framed within a theme, which usually ties into the seasonal calendar. So for example, today, St. Patrick's Day is on Sunday, so we're doing everything Irish today. So My Wild Irish Rose, When Irish Eyes Are Smiling, so those kind of songs. And the reminiscence is framed in how did you celebrate St. Patrick's Day? Do you have any Irish blood running through your veins? And just snowballing from there. So every session begins with a hello song, and I'm sure many of you have heard it. Since I met you, Terry, my whole life has changed. There's many reasons that many music therapists use a hello song. So the hello song works to greet each resident individually and welcome them to this therapeutic space. It's also a daily assessment tool for me. Can they answer an open or closed question today? What is their emotional state, and what has changed since I saw them the previous week? It is also our opening ritual, a time, kind of a clue to shift our attention and create the therapeutic space for the next 45 minutes. We then go into what we call, for lack of a better word, the weather song. So this is to reinforce the here and now. What is the weather outside? Where are we in the time of the year? And it often gets the conversation going about weather. Oh, is it chilly out there? It's beautiful. Well, so-and-so, I know you go out for a morning walk. Why don't you tell us how it was out when you were out there? So it gets that discussion. It brings the awareness to their neighbors, and it gives that one resident a chance to share a little bit about their day already. And then we usually lead in, well, it's sunny out there, but it's a little chilly, so so-and-so has a nice cozy sweater, so-and-so has some good boots, maybe we'll need some sunscreen, let's grab our coats and our hats and head for the sunny side of the street. So we then sing that song through, and then after that we introduce the theme and start the framework for the reminiscence. So as I mentioned today, St. Patrick's Day. The next part of the session is kind of the core part, and the flow often changes, but it uses a variety of instruments, singing, and there's a variety of interventions. Thank you for coming. Our sessions are primarily song-based, so because the groups are of such a range of abilities and areas of needs, having it song-based really helps keep the cohesion of the group, keep the attention, and for residents who suddenly say, you know what, something in their mind is telling them that they need to get up and walk away, or something is cueing them that I have to go pick up the kids right now, it helps refocus their attention if we stay in the music as much as we possibly can. Some benefits from singing: it can encourage reminiscence and discussion of the past while reducing anxiety and fear. For individuals with compromised breathing, it can improve oxygen saturation rates. And for individuals who have difficulty speaking following a stroke, music may stimulate the language centers in the brain and promote ability to sing. The next intervention we use often is playing instruments. We have a whole variety of ones, paddle drums, tambourines, wooden spoons, and my personal favorite, the cue chord. For those of you who have not seen this one in action, this funny looking instrument is perfect for one-on-one connection and allowing opportunity for musical expression. So how it works is we turn this little guy on and we come up one-to-one with each resident, and I invite them to strum right back and forth here. So a resident who has higher abilities is able to do it independently. Sometimes they swirl, sometimes they tap it like a piano, and it really offers a moment for them to share their own creative expression. And for residents who might not be able to grasp the concept of the connection between them pushing here and the music that's being produced, we do just simple hand over hand, and they get to still have that moment of, I'm making this music, even though I might have a little assistance. So we sing a song. So let's do, you are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy